Hi traders, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Tuesday, the 15th of August. Full table today. We can see that we've got a full board here. New Zealand, Swiss topping the table, so Kiwi still remaining the weakest currency on both tables at the moment. Dollars dropped down to S2 but still looks fairly strong, so we'll take a look at that market once again. We do have a little bit of data on the board today. You can see that we've got core retail sales coming up this afternoon in the US, so we do have to be aware of that. So we could see some kind of swing in that particular market, considering that core retail sales is forecast to come in lower and the retail sales is meant to come in a little bit higher, so they might cancel each other out in a way. But we'll see what happens there. And some really good, strong pound data this morning. Average earnings up to 8.2%. So pound is on a flyer at the moment. And you can see we are S3 on the pound. Aussie weak as well. So we're actually going to kick it off with pound Aussie. Charles sent me a view of the dashboard this morning, and you can see that pound Aussie, you can see 100% here on the momentum scales, and that's all we really need to know. Pound complex up 250 pips at the time as well, and it looks like the pound momentum is with us. So we did discuss pound in a bit of detail yesterday. We also discussed pound yen, and pound yen was one to watch. Now, if you did look at that pound yen move, we were looking to get in around about 183.80. So if I just jump over to pound yen first, actually, we can see that we were looking at getting in back down here on a retest of that 50 moving average, which was around about the 183.80. If you did get in there at the moment, you're around about 135 pips up. Was about 140 pips, but price well on its way to the upside now. The target really for this is the 180s or the 186s, 187s. If you take a look at it from this weekly, I think actually 188 is my favorite area. Yeah, the 188. So we discussed the 188 in length yesterday, and that looks to be playing out quite nicely. Again, if you're looking to get in this move, price formed a bit of a consolidation here. The news obviously pushed price quite aggressively higher, so what I'd be waiting for is for price to come back a little bit into this zone, maybe 50 MA running through there as well, and then look to potentially add in on a retest very similar to what happened down through here. So pound yen looking very, very good for upside. Obviously we showed you pound Aussie there as well. Now pound Aussie is actually a currency pair that we've featured many times ever since we traded through this one spot 91.50 handle. We were talking about being long this market, and in particular we were looking at areas into this sort of trend that developed. One area we talked about was the break of the 193.75 and a retest, and you can see we've basically every time we've kind of formed that new higher high, prices come back in, rallied, prices come back in, rallied, and most recently we came into that trend line support, as well as kind of like a previous structure point on the prior highs in there, and yeah, we've took off again here on pound Aussie. So the momentum's definitely with this market currently. If we look at it from the hourly as well, broke back below the 50 but back above it again, and prices started to rally. The target for this was the 197 handle, which was basically this trend line from this monthly area. Now that is a pretty major level of resistance, so we are coming very, very close to that now. So to be getting in on a position here may be a little bit tricky. Again, I'd want to see price come back down, maybe back down where we've just rallied from, where the 50 moving average is, maybe around about this 195.60, before looking for a move to 197 again. But pound Aussie was definitely one of those that we were watching and has continued to move higher. Was looking basically to see what could happen next on Kiwi, because obviously Kiwi has been featured here as well. So heading on over to Kiwi Swiss. The only reason we avoided this market was because price was at the all-time low. And when I say all-time low, it's all-time low with the data that is available to us on Pepperstone's data here. If I go to the monthly chart, we only had back to 2007. So that's when I said all-time low. It might not be the major all-time low at all. It just is the what we have available to us. And you can see very strong monthly downward candlestick there. Last week was very strong weekly, and we did say, like, you know, you could still look for the opportunity to get short on this market. If you did manage to get short up in here, then you're about 80 pips up. Recently we've had a bit of a rejection here as well, so if the market again kind of plays the sort of range there and moves back to the highs, it could be another opportunity to see price continue to push lower. Kiwi dollar has a little bit more downside to it, I feel. If you have a look at it from a weekly perspective, strong weekly bearish candlestick. We've got this bearish channel support low coming through here. The channel high, sorry, was around about there. So looking to see if we can get into that area. Ultimately, we could break down and head towards the 0.5550s again, but that's a long way off. Looking at the 4 hour, what we were looking for basically was a move back into the 0.6050 handle. That could still technically happen at the moment. Price is just consolidating here, so what I'll be looking for is one or two things. Price to try and break out of this consolidation and fail. If it does fail, then that could offer us an opportunity to the downside, especially if we've got this trend line confluence that maybe gets tapped. The alternative is to wait for a pullback into the prior lows here at the 0.6050. Now, yesterday, that kind of lined up there. If I just move that fib down now, the 61.8 comes in there a little bit more sort of towards that level. So there's definitely more confluence to that zone as the 61.8 sits at that level now. So we'll see if that can kind of pull back. If not, I'm just kind of watching the hourly. Like I said, you can see we've just rejected the 50 MA there. If price fails to get above this zone in here and we reject, I think that could offer further downside as well. Obviously, another market we've been interested in is Kiwi dollar. Sorry, not Kiwi dollar. Just talked about Kiwi dollar. Aussie US dollar as well, and dollar yen. Now, dollar yen was something we were watching because price was approaching the 145 handle, and we were discussing whether price would take out that 145 or not. We have taken the 145 now. We closed above it yesterday. It'll be interesting to see if we hold above it, because that's where we're kind of in on our euro yen position long. So as long as dollar yen can stay fairly positive here, it could give us an opportunity on euro yen still, because we are euro yen long at the moment. We're euro yen long just above this candlestick here at the 158.63. We are around about 62 pips up on this market move at the moment. Let me just have a little look at that above me. Yeah, around about 60 pips up at the moment on this one, expecting some further upside on euro yen. The only difference here with euro yen and pound yen is that euro yen has quite a way to go. 169 is that next level of the resistance. So I'd like to see if we do trade out through these highs here, is 169 the level that goes to get targeted. I mean, it'd be great if it did, because that offers us a huge return on our investment there. So we'd look to see huge return on our trade there. So I'd look to see if price can continue to break to the upside. At the moment, it's looking pretty good. I've actually moved my stop losses to 158.05 now, which is just this level in here, just below these lows. If we can continue to make higher highs and higher lows, I'll just drag my stop loss with it, and yeah, hopefully we get rewarded on this move in here. Charles is still long euro kiwi, and if you're still long euro kiwi, then you're still looking pretty good. We got in down at this green line here. If you held the position and not moved your stop losses too soon to break even, or by say too soon, you moved stop losses because of the news, then you're about 245 pips up. Was about 280 pips up at one point, but euro coming back into the mix really. Although it's not featured here, it's actually S4 on the tables at the moment, so expecting that rise to continue. Again, we've kind of traded through sort of trend line resistance there, back above the 50 MA. This one's looking pretty good for further upside as well. Finally, then, I'm just going to cover Aussie Swiss. Obviously, we were talking about getting Aussie Swiss short. I am Aussie Swiss short just from this candlestick in here. This rejection of the 50 MA yesterday kind of brought my attention to Aussie Swiss. So currently around about 30 2 pips up on this market. Looking for this market to really break down. I quite like the idea of seeing price continue lower, especially towards the 0 spot 56 handle, or even the 0 spot 55. Targeting the 0 spot 56 first because it's just closer. The market's got less work to do to get to that point, so I'll manage the position if we can get into that 150 0 spot 56 handle, sorry, which is just a little bit lower. But we are starting to break through lows here now, which is nice. Just need to see that momentum continue. So lots to cover today, or lots have been covered today. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. The top sort of markets we're looking at the moment, bit of a pullback on pound Aussie. I really like the Aussie pairs in general, so Aussie US dollar, for instance, could be a good one to watch as well. Obviously price continuing that downward trend in here. Looking at the hourly, we just came off that 50 MA as well. So really like Aussie US dollar downside. We've got the potential for this market to really come down into the past the 0 spot 65, down to the 0 spot 63, potentially even into the 0 spot 61.50. So there's a good potential here for some downside on Aussie US dollar as well. I forgot to mention this one, but this one's looking pretty good for some downside too. But everything else we potentially are doing pretty well. Euro yen long, pound yen long, Aussie Swiss short, Euro Kiwi long, all doing really well. Hopefully you managed to catch some pips through those markets, and I'll speak to you in the next video.